everybody, thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'll be taking a look at The Land of Lines by Victor Hussenot. This is put out by Chronicle Books. Really interesting book. I read Victor's The Spectators that was out from No Brow Press and was just so stunned by that book that I had to go search for like what else has this artist done. This is the only other thing that's been translated and published in English. It's a kid's book. It's a really interesting way that they've bound the book here. You can't open the book fully, so it kind of sits in your hand really nicely. I really like that. It made itself holdable. I didn't have to put any work into holding it, and I don't know if that's standard for kids' books because kids don't have as much strength or not, but to me it was a really nice way to bind the book. Sometimes you want to open it to see the art a little bit more, but there's not really any gutter loss or anything. So this is a really beautiful piece of production here. This came out in 2015 in America, so this has been out for a while. You can probably find yourself a used copy, which is what I've got. So it's like with The Spectators, it's a pretty brief read, but really says a lot in a short amount of time. So here you have, and it's really nice too because it's printed in spot colors, so it's red, blue, and yellow, and there's a lot of use made of the color in here. Reminds me a bit of how color's used in Asteros Polyp, actually, Dave Mazzucchelli's Asteros Polyp. So here you have this blue and this red character, this boy and this girl, and they obviously exist in the same world, but they're not really connected yet. So you see the red and the blue is very separated. They're both kind of in their own little worlds. And that relates to what Victor Hussenot was doing in The Spectators as well, with kind of, I think, some kind of phenomenologist or Heideggerian idea of worlds in the artwork is my best guess of where this interest is coming from. So you see now these two characters, they meet up and they're talking together, and as they get to know each other, like in the Asteros Polyp book, the colors start to come together more. So I really like on this page here where they go exploring together, the red and the blue really start to get mixed up, and the blue characters riding along the red character's line and the red characters riding on the blue character's line. And it's a really great visual for just people getting to know each other. And now you can see them exploring, and this tree's made out of both blue and red. They're not as separated up as it was before. And then here you start to see the cross-hatching really gets, everything is almost like a 3D book where almost everything is made out of red and blue together. But also getting worried that a character has been lost here, that the girl disappeared overnight. So a lot being told. Then here all of a sudden, this is really exciting to me because my project that I'm working on, Bound, is very much a shape style versus a line style at different parts in the book. So to see someone else playing with, here's something that's entirely in shape with this yellow, and it looks like it was actually painted on a watercolor paper, or that this was done, but actually probably what happened is that this was done digitally and then the watercolor paper with the yellow was masked over top of it. But it really makes a nice textural look to it, even though it has the crispness of the digital art. Really cool strategy. And this monster has obviously trapped the little girl, and I really like these sequences here where this yellow texture has been mapped into this shape, and the way they have this fight here, and just the way the colors and the lines are interacting. And then you see that was just, the bully is just a hurt little boy. And then here you have this suggestion that the characters go on a walk together, and again playing with shape now. They're more like silhouettes instead of lines, and I'm not quite sure what that means, but I think it's interesting that kid is thinking that way. And so here they go on this big journey together, and again it's mostly everything constructed out of the red and the blue. You have a couple where it looks like they're maybe it's just color relativity, but it looks like the colors are changing a little bit. There's some variations in some of the colors, it looks like. Maybe it's just because they're solid. But really this Land of Lines, which is what the book's called, with a few areas of filled in shape, that's really interesting. And you see that this kid that's in the yellow is kind of like a third wheel along for the ride, even though these kids are friends with him. The yellow's not permeating into their world in any way. But just you can see all throughout the visuals, the compositions, the sense of fun, the sense of play. Like this has a video game structure where the two boys go down here and then they climb back up, and the girl has just kind of taken this like easier, smarter path over here, and then all three of them go underwater. Like it just looks and kind of reads like playing a video game. Here now you get some real color play where there's been some like screening of a gradient going on over top of the line work, which again I love. It's totally stuff that I'm into right now and playing with. But it gets like this character gets brought home and dropped off, and then so okay, we leave our friend, and now the screen with the gradient happens back to the red, and then you go and you take the girl home and you drop her off to her parents, and then she says goodbye to her little boyfriend there, and he goes off, and he's now like saying, okay, well, I got to go on an adventure. And I love all the icons here, and it's like, well, I got to go do this thing, and she's kind of sad that he left, and he's sitting there thinking about her, and that's how it's left off. So much in there, and it's also beautifully drawn. It's also beautifully produced with these colors. I do think that these aren't actually printed as spot colors. Like it looks like the line art is actually done with halftone rather than straight to line art. I think they probably could have done it not that way, except for these couple sequences where you get a gradient. They probably could have preserved it as just line art. But very minimal complaint about what's otherwise a genius book. I really think Victor Hussenot's a genius cartoonist and a genius storyteller, genius use of materials to make his point. Just everything's locked in to make a point, and they're really tight packages. So I hope more of Victor Hussenot's work gets translated. I'm a huge fan, and it looks like there's a lot out there, but there's only two. This one doesn't even really need to be translated. That's probably why it got picked up by Chronicle Kids. So it's probably just an easy job for them. But really powerful work, really powerful artist. I couldn't be more thrilled by this artist, and couldn't be more kind of hopeful that I get to see more. So hopefully you can get a chance to grab these two books. They're both been out for a while, Land of Lions and the Spectators, and hopefully you enjoy them as much as I do. If you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel and want to support us, there's two ways to do it. The first way is through our Patreon. We have two different tiers of engagement there. The first one's just early access to the videos. The second one is a lot of exclusive content, voting rights on a web experiment comic we're doing where people can vote to determine where the story goes, and then also exclusive previews of the stuff that Sean and I are doing, some of our private artwork, things like that. We appreciate it. That helps us buy the books that we review, put the money back into the community, and then keep you all exposed to cool pieces like this that you can go grab. The best way to support Living the Line itself is to support what Sean's doing with Living the Line Publishing. So we'll go ahead and take a look at one of his projects now. The Eisner nominated The Strange Death of Alex Raymond by Dave Sim and myself. This is a gorgeously illustrated and designed book. Dave doing most of the illustration. Amazing compositions throughout. What Dave is doing is he's recording his obsession with the death of master cartoonist Alex Raymond behind the wheel of Stan Drake's car when they got into a car crash. The best description of the book that I've heard is that it's like understanding comics with pages like this mixed with something like From Hell when you get into the theories about what actually happened with the car crash. And then with Sean on production, it's just one of the most gorgeously printed books you could get a hold of. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that